My name is Richard Hale. I'm 73 years old. And I want to share something with you. Something most people only understand when it's already too late. Almost everything we're taught about getting older, about waiting, about success, about someday, rests on a quiet assumption that time is generous, that life will slow down when you're ready, that there will always be another chance. I believed that. For most of my life, I did what I was supposed to do. I built a steady career. I earned respect. I provided for my family. From the outside, my life looked solid, even admirable. But inside, something always felt unfinished. I noticed it, but I ignored it. I kept telling myself I'd deal with it later. Later never came. When I was 52, my heart failed without warning. One moment I was sitting in a conference room, talking about numbers that felt important at the time. The next, I woke up in a hospital bed, tubes in my arms, my wife crying quietly beside me. The doctors called it a cardiac event, a neat phrase for something terrifying. My body had forced me to stop. They told me I was lucky, and they were right, just not in the way they meant. Because lying there, with nowhere to go and nothing to distract me, I realized something that still unsettles me. I hadn't been living intentionally. I had been drifting. My days were full, but my life felt unfinished. I wasn't chasing what mattered. I was postponing it. That's when the lie finally showed itself. I have time. I hear it everywhere. When things settle down, when I make more money, when the kids are older, when I retire. Here's what I wish someone had told me sooner. Life doesn't wait for your schedule. The finish line keeps moving, and while you're preparing to finally live, years quietly disappear. You don't notice it at first. Then one day you look back, and the distance is terrifying. That hospital bed didn't just change my health. It revealed a trap millions of people fall into without realizing it. In the next part, I'll tell you why chasing success might be the very thing stealing your life, while convincing you you're winning. After I survived my heart attack, people kept saying the same thing to me. At least you lived a successful life. They meant it kindly. They were trying to comfort me. But when I heard it, it didn't feel comforting at all. It felt like a warning I almost missed. For most of my life, I chased success because I believed it was the safest path. Work harder, move higher, earn more, prove yourself. I thought if I stayed in motion long enough, happiness would eventually catch up. It never did. Each achievement brought a brief sense of relief, a promotion, a larger paycheck, a little more recognition. For a short while, it felt like progress. Then the feeling faded. And when it did, there was always something else waiting. Another goal, another responsibility, another reason to postpone rest or joy or time with the people I loved. Success has a way of keeping you occupied. And when you're occupied, you don't always notice what's slipping away. I remember realizing one quiet evening that I had spent nearly 30 years climbing without ever asking myself a simple question. Is this where I actually want to be? By the time I reached the top, stepping back felt impossible. Life had settled into place, expectations hardened, responsibilities stacked up, and without any single dramatic moment, my choices became permanent. I watched friends follow the same path. One funeral in particular stays with me. A man who built a business from nothing. He worked constantly, missed birthdays, missed dinners, missed vacations. He always said he'd make time later. Later never came. At his funeral, his son said quietly, "My father was successful, but he was never really there." That sentence doesn't leave you. Here's what I've learned. Success doesn't shield you from regret. Sometimes it creates it, because success teaches you to delay what matters most. Relationships become negotiable. Health becomes flexible. Joy becomes something you promise yourself someday. But someday is fragile. When your body finally forces you to stop, or when time naturally slows, you understand something clearly. Achievements don't sit with you in the quiet. Titles don't call you back, and money can't replace the moments you chose to skip. When I finally accepted that success wasn't the answer, a much harder question appeared. What truly matters when time starts running out? In the next part, I'll share what haunted me most once everything went quiet, and why real regret is rarely what people expect. There's something unexpected that happens when life finally slows down. The noise fades, the urgency disappears, and what's left is memory. That's when regret arrives. Not loudly, not all at once, but quietly, slipping into the spaces where distraction used to live. Most people think regret comes from failure, from bad choices, from things that went wrong. But that isn't what stays with you. What stays are the absences, the things you meant to do, the moments you postponed because waiting felt reasonable, even responsible. I don't lie awake thinking about business mistakes. Those barely register anymore. What I remember are the moments I skipped, the calls I didn't return, the weekends I chose work instead of people, the trips I kept promising myself I'd take one day. One of my deepest regrets is about my father. We didn't have a dramatic falling out, just distance. The kind that quietly builds when life stays busy for too long. I always believed we'd have time to talk properly, time to understand each other better. Then one morning, he was gone. A heart attack. No warning, no second chance. And what hurts most isn't the lack of some grand conversation. It's the ordinary moments, the Sundays I didn't visit, the dinners I skipped because I was tired, the small things that felt insignificant then, but feel enormous now. That's the cruelty of delay. It makes loss invisible until it's permanent. As I've grown older, I've listened more carefully to people my age. Different lives, different stories, same regrets. Not loving openly enough. Not being present, not choosing courage when it mattered, not saying I love you while there was still time to hear it back. No one ever says, I wish I worked more, but many say, I wish I had lived more honestly. So if regret comes from waiting, and waiting feels so reasonable, how do you change before it's too late? In the final part, I'll tell you what shifted after my heart attack and how you can start living intentionally now, not someday. After my heart attack, a lot of people expected some kind of dramatic reinvention, a new career, a completely different life. That isn't what happened. What changed wasn't everything around me. What changed was what I decided mattered. For most of my life, I treated my days like rehearsal, like the real living would begin later, when things slowed down, when responsibilities eased, when I finally had time. After that moment in the hospital, I stopped doing that. I stopped putting my life on hold. I started asking myself one quiet question before saying yes to anything. When I'm older, when life is quieter and time feels short, will this matter to me? If the answer was no, I learned to walk away. And for the first time, I did it without guilt. I spent more time with the people I love and far less time trying to impress anyone else. I took my health seriously instead of trading it for productivity. I chose experiences over possessions, conversations over accomplishments, being present over being busy. What surprised me most was this: my life didn't fall apart when I stopped chasing everything. It became simpler, clearer, lighter. I understand how easy it is to ignore advice like this when you're young or overwhelmed. I would have done the same. I would have thought, that's easy to say when your life is already behind you. But that's exactly the lesson. I didn't understand any of this until time forced me to. So let me ask you something, honestly. If your life ended sooner than you expect, would you feel at peace with how you've been living? Not with how productive you've been, not with how successful you look, but with how present you are, how honest, how alive. If the answer is no, waiting won't change it. More money won't change it. Better planning won't change it. Only choosing differently will. I'm 73 now. I don't know how many years I have left. Maybe 10, maybe fewer. But I wake up grateful, not because my life is perfect, but because I finally stopped postponing it. Here's what I wish I had learned sooner. There is no perfect time. Life will always be complicated. Fear will always give you reasons to delay. If you wait for the right moment, you may wait forever. Start now. Call the people you love. Take the trip that makes you nervous. Say no when you need to. Say I love you without saving it for later. Live like your time matters, because it does. You don't want to reach 73 and wish you had started sooner. The life you're waiting to live doesn't begin someday. It begins with the choice you make today.